What's going on, world? It's a brand new episode of Royal Key there on your screen. I'm your host, George Kill, and I'm here with Eric Housen in Oakland. What's going on, man?
What's up, George?
Oh, nothing much.
Thanks
How
for
you
having
been?
me, man.
Man, now you know this is long overdue, right?
Yes. We tried to do this a few years ago, and
Yeah.
we got a little busy.
We want to talk about shoes here today. You guys have some of the biggest sneakerheads on the team, right?
Yeah, no question.
On a typical season, how many shoes come through this place?
Oh, thousands. It's hard to really inventory exactly the number that comes through, but it's a lot.
Right. And you guys are so spread out. Talk to me about the different places in which you guys keep shoes.
It's definitely a unique setup, having a practice facility downtown, an arena, 20 minutes away, and then, traveling twice a week on the road.
Right.
So you basically have things in 4 locations, really. We have a storage site at the airport. We have stuff in our home arena. We have stuff at the practice facility. And then we also have like a 4,000 square foot warehouse where we house a lot of older shoes. I try not to give anything away because you never know when a player is going to come back to wanting a shoe. I try to keep everything that they don't want or we don't send to their foundations. We've done some pretty cool things as far as donating in the Bay Area. A couple shoe drives here have been pretty popular, but for the most part, all of their older shoes, at least 1 or 2 pairs are there. And in some cases, like Andre and Steph, there might be 500-600 pairs of old shoes there.
Now, as a typical game day, we're gonna talk home and then we'll talk away. What do you do as far as a typical game day?
Well, it really depends on what the day is gonna bring. Typically, I think I'm out of the house by 5:30. Depending on what needs to be done, I may stop at the warehouse, the arena. We have shoot around at the practice facility, so we do everything here. And then, obviously down to Oracle for the game. There's a few guys that, only play in their shoes at practice. And for instance, KD wears the same pair of shoes pretty much all the time until he transitions into a new shoe. So I always have those at the practice site and then at the arena for the game, whereas some players will have some shoes at the practice site and then some at the game.
Right.
So I'm constantly shifting and moving things around, just depending on what the day brings.
Yeah. Now on the road, I know that's totally different. And when I first heard about the shoe bags, it was you actually. How do those shoe bags work for you? And how many do you carry on the road?
Yeah, on a normal trip, I have about 10 shoe bags. One just for Steph and one just for KD, not by their own choosing. This is me totally not wanting to forget anything. Both have tons of different colorways, and as far as their marketing program goes, they're slated to wear those shoes on any given night, and I'm always afraid when a new pair comes in, I'm gonna forget them. So if I put them in their bag, I know they're there. There's 16 pairs for each of them on every trip, and then I have 3 other bags that facilitates all the shoes for the other guys. We left Nick Young out, man. Swags has got a lot of different shoes, and I have never had a player like Swags. He plays without the sock liner. It's the first player I've ever had. He plays his foot, sock, rubber, floor. It's crazy. No orthotic and no sock. I'm not recommending that. That's a really unique swag thing.
That sounds about right. Let's go check it out.
All right. This is our equipment room at the practice facility downtown Oakland. This is where we store basically the day-to-day stuff for the team. Like I said, we're pretty spread out, so not everything's here, but we have, practice gear and extra shoes here and everything the guys need on a daily basis.
Right. Now, before we get into these 5, who I think are your biggest shoe guys, what is your favorite shoe, Eric?
I have 2. I'm older, so Air Flight 89 was my favorite shoe. And the reason was it was one of the first SMUs they did for Chris Mullin. And at the time, we didn't have any signature players, so it was like a big deal. Going from that to where we are now with 3 guys with signature shoes, 3 guys with special makeup shoes.
And I think you hinted at how long you've been here. How long have you been working?
I started in '86 as a ball boy, and they gave me the head equipment job in 1999.
Wow. We're gonna start here with Draymond. Give me one thing about Draymond and his footwear that describes him.
Tough, physical. He likes new shoes and loves it when he gets to launch new shoes, and he does a great job of it, but he's not super particular. I mean, he just goes to battle in what you give him. He is a guy that if you are looking for feedback on a shoe, he will give you the honest truth.
Right.
What you see out there on the court is what he has to deal with on a daily basis, and it's great because he's always going to give you 100% the truth and tell you right to your face.
Right,
This is a Flyknit Hyper Dunk. This is one of my favorite shoes they've done for Draymond. Just the design and the colorways. This blue one is so nice. And he wore this at the beginning of this season.
Right.
He's transitioned into the Hyper Rev.
Now let's move on to Clay. Clay is probably your most recent signature guy. How is it working with Anta?
Anta's been great. I mean, this is definitely their best version of Clay's shoe.
Right.
A great look, great performance. He loves them. Multitude of colorways that they've done for him this year have been tremendous.
And how is he with shoes? Is he switching every time? Or?
Man, he's exactly like Draymond. You give him a new pair, he'll wear them. You give him an old pair, wear them. He likes to break them in. Another guy that's just so physically tough, you know. He will play a finesse game or he will fight you tooth and nail. He's just a tough kid, and he just goes out there and hoops.
Moving on to KD. They give him an assortment of colorways, obviously.
He doesn't like to change his shoes too much. He gets stuck in one shoe where he's comfortable and he's got it broken in. He likes to stick with it, but he has a lot to choose from. And obviously, you know, the colorways that they make for him are just, every time I get one, I'm man.
I'm gonna go ahead and let you pick your top 5 right now.
MLK for sure. Just the colorways, the way it goes together, what it represents. I really love this shoe. And the Ant Pearl right now, it's hard to make a cool pink shoe, and I think that Nike accomplished that on this one.
Year.
What do you think?
Yeah, they do it every year.
I love this one just because, you know, I'm diehard Warriors super fan, even though I work here. This is another unique one where they took on our Bay logo and for Chinese New Year, and that's the actual Chinese logo that we have on the front of our jerseys, and they just put a KD in there. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty unique.
Tell me about the cupcake ones.
Oh, the cupcakes, yeah, it came out of OKC. We don't have those out, but those are the red velvet cupcakes. They were calling them that in OKC, so they just kind of ran with that.
Yeah.
Definitely not a cupcake, though.
Moving on to Under Armour. Steph Curry is the poster child for Under Armour. Does he have the most colorways of any of your guys?
I would say him and KD are pretty close to the amount of colorways they get. I said I had 2 favorite shoes. One was the Air Flight 89. My second one was the Curry ones, just because everything is symbolized, taking a risk, leaving Nike to go to Under Armour to represent that brand and where he's taking it is just incredible. You know, as he's progressed, you know, we're in the Curry 4s right now, and they're really popular, man.
Just like the KD one, I want you to kind of give me some of your favorites over here.
Oh, man. I'm picking this one right away.
Okay.
Steph knows. Oakland A's. Love the Oakland A's. That's my team.
Right.
This is numero uno. And Steph knows I love the Golden State yellow, the Canary yellow. I love the yellows. Sometimes everybody's like, oh man, them things are bright. I love these shoes though. Not all of these have been out yet, but it's one of the most requested shoes I get. His shooting coach, Bruce Frazier, has a pair. You know, some of the other coaches don't quite have them yet. Johnny West is always rocking an exclusive model because him and Steph are really tight.
Is Steph more of a high top or a low top fan?
He wears low tops to work out in a lot and shoot around in, but he wears the highs in the game. The thing with Steph is he can wear a pair of shoes right out of the box. He is a little bit superstitious, but it has to be a great game for him to go and wear that shoe again the next night. I know I'm talking great game. For him, 25, 30 is pretty standard. You start to get up in the 40s, 50 points. He's definitely going back to that shoe that he had the 40 and 50 point for the next game.
So I'm assuming that double nickel game, he might have wore those a couple.
Yeah, he had worn those like 6 straight games or something, I think, after that.
Now, Andre, he's told us about his affinity for Kobe Bryant off the court, but you can see
his shoe collection, his lifestyle shoe collection might be the dopest.
How is he with shoes? Does he beat them up pretty bad? Or?
Nah, I mean, he'll wear them a couple games, but he's not super particular.
Now, the last person, to me, is probably the best lifestyle off-court guy, Nick Young.
Oh, swag. He's such a unique character from his pregame outfits to his shoes to, I think he played a game in Yeezys once.
And I'm sure he wears, what, a new shoe like every single game? Or?
Not every game, but he switches them up a lot. What's unique about Swags is I'll have 2 or 3 pairs of shoes ready to go for him, and he'll come in with a pair of shoes on and just decide to wear them straight off the street. I mean, if he's feeling good that day, he'll wear his lifestyle shoes in the game. And that's not something I'd recommend either, but I mean, you don't get Swaggy nickname for not doing stuff like that, you know?
Swag is like, he's not a superstar, but the brands treat him just like he's one of them,
commercial?
Right?
But he's a good guy to generate that lifestyle because, I mean, like I said, he's eccentric in the way he dresses, he's unique, he's so comfortable with who he is.
What do you think is the most unique shoes they've made for him?
The ones that get me are this still swaggy. You know what I mean? Like just putting that little stitching in there. I think Adidas just wanted to, you know, make sure everybody know he still had the swag, even though he's coming off the bench, maybe a little bit more limited minutes than he's used to. But I like that one, especially because it's in our colorway. I'm usually gonna pick those.
This is the one actually. I really like what they did.
I hadn't even seen it until you picked the bottom up. That's pretty dope.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I've heard this before. Maybe it's a rumor. I heard that you once used to create the shoes for the players, as far as like Nike ID and stuff like that.
We've done some of that. Some of the guys, when they first get in the league, you know, are getting the standard shoes that Nike gives, which is fine, but a lot of them want their own made. I think this year we did some for Jordan Bell, some Paul George's, until he builds himself up to get that SMU shoe, you know, on his way. You know, I always like the collaboration with the guys because you really get a good feel for what they like, and then you can project that moving forward. I set out 60 pairs of shoes between the 5 players.
And you also have, for our social media, you have a giveaway for us.
Yes, we'll get you a nice care package.
Yeah, definitely. So find out how to get it at Koiski Media. We'll be sharing that info tomorrow.
What Chris doing?